Dr. Cook's office.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. So, hi there. My name is Dave Gilday, and I am taking the place today of Mickey Dillon, who is out of electricity. His home doesn't have any electricity because they got captured by the ice storms in Nashville, Tennessee. He sent me a picture, and it looks like a war zone with the trees that are down and whatever. So it's just kind of an interesting scenario. So let me get that off. Nikki, can you make it so that whoever is speaking is the primary screen? So
That's what the
anyway,
primer is. It is.
it is okay. All right, real fine then. So our lesson tonight. So everyone knows that we have these technologies that are, in my opinion, are unique on Earth. Okay, that you can't find them anyplace else. The only place you can get them is from us. Okay. But to make this work, we really need to get it out to the people, right? And so we use a system called network distribution. And network distribution, some people call it network marketing. I like network distribution because that's what it is. It's just a distribution system. And we use that system. And we're going to talk a little bit about how do we get a person involved when we first start them. Now, I'm going to be looking away from the screen at my notes on my other screen. I apologize for that. But the information will be wonderful regardless, okay? So when we sponsor a new team member, we know that we want to know if they're interested in owning their own business. They'd like to make income. And if they are, there's some first steps we can take to help them get started, okay? Think for a minute pouring gasoline on fire. When my sponsor, the first time I made a six-figure income in networking, that's what my sponsor kept saying. She said, Dave, you're gasoline, you pour it on fire. She said, and then you can take a spark to a blaze to a bonfire to a forest fire. Okay. So that's what our jobs are to do that. All right. So one of the first things we do when I get a new person on the team is we do 2 to 4 welcome to the team calls. That's so fun. A new person signs up, and just about as soon as they do, within the next 24 to 48 hours, I have 2 to 4 people do 3 ways and share their stories with them to welcome them to the team, to make them feel good. Because some people, many of us, get buyer's remorse. And so to help with that, we just have you did a good job. Here's my story, and this is how it worked for us. And so you did good. And that's what we do. So I make it a point, 2 to 4 people that I welcome to the team. Can be on your team, can be a cross line. It doesn't matter as long as they would welcome our team. The great news is that in Avini, everyone is welcome. Okay. Now, I want to stop here for a second and talk about the steps for a good story. Now, a good story in Avini, in my opinion, is one of the very most important things that we have. One, it's unique, it's your story. I use my story all the time when I'm out and about. They say, what do you do? Well, do you have a second? I'll tell you my story. I can do my story in 3 minutes. I tell them my story. And then at the end of my story, if they have, wow, that's interesting, then I invite them to take some information. So your story can do so many things. A good story is designed to create vision and hope. Think for a minute. How many people would get in with us if they knew what we knew? Technologies you can't get anyplace else, only from us, made by a guy who owns all the formulations, and we keep our costs down, and we have a family, and we pay more compensation than any other company, and we have stuff that's amazing. Okay. How many people wouldn't get in if they knew that stuff? Well, they would. Lots more would. And how do they find that out? By the stories. So here's the step for a good story. I'll go through the steps and then I'll tell you a good story. I'm going to tell you Frank Phelps' story. So you start with your story, who we were or are. Okay? So who we are. For instance, I'm retired. And so I'll start with that story. My name is Dave Gilday. I've been a businessman for years and I'm retired. Okay? Then we talk about how Avini came into our life. Good friend of mine. introduced to me to a company that had natural healing products that were over the top. I mean, could not, I never saw anything quite like this. So that would be the second part of the story. The third part is your product story. What is it that you have or someone else's story? The first time I made six-figure income in network marketing, I and my whole family never had a product story. It is not necessary for you to have a product story. I have people say, "Well, if I know it works for me, then I'll do it." Okay. But there's a lot of things in life that doesn't work that way, and we still do them. So there needs to be some faith. The point is, does it work or not? And we have 2,000 testimonials. Will you believe some of the 2,000 if you don't have your own story? But if you have your own story, that's what you would do. You would tell that. I tell my weight loss story about when I lost 40 pounds in 6 months because of trim science. Okay. The next part is why and when their business started. Okay, so I saw that. I had a marvelous story. I said, "Oh my goodness, what a way to help people and earn extra income." And then you tell them what happened in your first period of time. For instance, I've been active for about a year and a half, and in that period of time, because of that, I sold a roofing company. And last January of 25, so over a year ago, I sold it. I had been making a six-figure income before that, but because of Avini, I made a six-figure income last year. So that's my money story. Because of Avini, I was able to continue to make a six-figure income. Okay. And then the business results. I've got a lady, her name is Martha Joe. Martha Joe's business results story here's her what happened for her. She got involved in October of last year, October 16th, and by the end of the month she made twice what she needed to pay her rent. In 2 weeks, twice what she needed to pay her rent. And then it's been building since then. And she says this year she'll make more money than she's ever made in her life. So that's the business part of the story, to build vision and hope. So a complete story is who you were or are, so they can have a reference. How you found out about Avini because it's interesting. Product story if you have one. If not, you tell someone else's story. Why and when your business started. Oh, I couldn't believe it. I decided to get involved because it seemed so powerful and people were doing good. And then where do you see the future? What kind of it? All right, so let me tell you Frank Phelps' story. So Frank, true story. Frank is the guy that I'm sponsored under. So there's Frank, and I'm the guy right under Frank. He didn't bring me in the business, but I was placed with him. So Frank started 4 years ago when he was 83. Frank has never done, he's retired, never done very much in network marketing, network distribution before. Tried, but never did very much. He worked with the Vini for 18 months helping people. And at the end of that period of time, he doubled his retirement income. He doubled it. So here he is, 4 years later. He's 87 years old, earning more than double his retirement income. He's helped a person to extend their life by 2 years, one person, 8 months for another. He knows for sure he did that. And he says you can't put a value on that. And he sees himself being able to continue to earn and increase his income as time goes on. He's excited. That's Frank Phelps' story. So your story is really important. Everyone who works with me personally, I have them write their story out. I recommend that you do that. Write your story out, okay? So that you can see it and then practice it. Your story, guys, is you. Just make sure it contains everything, including the finance part. So that's the story. Okay, number 3. So when we bring on a new recruit, retaining them is essential. Okay? To keep them with us and in the business of the temple is essential. So we focus on the 3 Ps. The 3 Ps are plugged in, paid, and promoted. Okay, those are the 3 Ps. We want to get that for them as quickly as we can. Plugged into the business. Now that's pretty easy. We have so many places to plug them in. That's wonderful about our business. And paid's obvious, and then promoted means recruiting. Okay. So before we get into that, let's talk about something called posture. Okay. Let me give you the definition of posture. Posture in network distribution is defined as belief in what you have to offer regardless of external acceptance or approval. So no matter what anybody else says, you believe what you believe. And so you're just going to move ahead. I like to see my as a train. I'm on a train. I'm moving this way. I'm approaching people. And if you believe what I do, hop on the train. If you don't, it's okay. Just make sure you get out of the way so we don't run you over. Okay? If you want to go my direction, fine. That's posture. Okay? So the questions I have for you is what should your or what is your posture when you're leading your new recruit and you're teaching him success? Hopefully it's positive and that and not just positive but hopeful that something can happen. But I will tell you, let's say you're fairly new or you have a lower belief. That's where team and community comes in. I love that about this business. You have team members, a community that can help you. If your posture isn't where you need to be, there are others who can, and they can share that posture with both you and your new recruits. So a new recruit can indeed get there, even if you're a little lacking in that. What's your posture when approaching or talking with someone? What's your personal posture? Are you proud of what you do? Are you solid in the belief that there are no groups or technologies or products to rival ours in this earth? None that consistently help people as solidly as Zavini's. No one changes and saves lives as commonplace as our products. That's what I believe. I mean, there's just no place they can, and the only place they can get it is from me and from you. So that's posture, okay? What about our business? Are you ashamed to be a network distribution or are you proud of it? It's a distribution system. It's been proven. We distribute billions and billions and billions of dollars worldwide, and we're simply getting this. Neil and Rick decided in the beginning to use network distribution because it was cheaper. They didn't have to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars to advertise in that. Two, our technologies need to be demonstrated. In this format, it helps with that. Three, we can do three ways and share our hope and vision. Not just one person, but a community of people can be um, can have it so that they're wanting your success. A community of people to help your success. Okay. Next, your people and team are attracted to and mirror your posture. The good news is you can borrow the posture of stronger people, which is why three-way calls aren't just nice in our business, but they're a necessity to your success, to our success. Three ways are a necessity in our business to do that. Part of it is because of posture. Part of it is because others can build vision and hope better than we can until we get up to that level. Okay, so now we have a new recruit. They believe that they can do it in the business. They've been welcomed to the team. Now what do we do? Well, it would be nice. You could do it on the phone or Zoom, in person, however you want to do it, to hold a strategy session in the first 24 to 48 hours, okay? This helps set up your three Ps, and you can do this before they get their products. You're setting up their business plan, okay? I have two boys. They went ahead and got into a roofing gutter siding business. And they paid $5,000 to a consultant for him to help them make a 10-year plan. They wanted a success plan, and it was important to them. Now, they're doing real well. They do a few $1 million a year, and it's growing. So that success plan has really helped them. Okay, this is what we're doing. We're helping our people do an initial success plan so that they can see that they can actually do this, and then we help them to do that. Okay. So what are some of the things we want to do in a strategy session? Okay. One, we sign them up for AutoShip and explain to them the value. I don't work with anybody unless they're on AutoShip. The reason is because AutoShip is such a key part of our business. It's a part of it is faith. I don't care if they came in for $9.99. The deal is it's a component of faith. It's part of the business building. And if they're going to build business, then they need to do that. So sign them up for AutoShip and have them happy about it. Explain your simple business plan. I think it was Steve told me that he's got Cleanse 90. something or other happening this Saturday. That's a business plan. If you can help a person get started in the business using the Cleanse 90 system, that I'd say go for it. I use a different system. It's called Run the Bases. It doesn't matter. Have a simple system. Here's the way I like to explain it to people, and I do this commonly on three-way calls. Is I say, listen, we have a simple system. Let me ask you something, Steve. Let me ask you something. If you were to buy a McDonald's and you had a good locations, you don't even like McDonald's hamburgers. What's the chances of you being successful if you buy a McDonald's and follow their system? Well, most people would say it is. If the location's good, you just have to follow the system. I tell them that's what our business is like. We have a simple system. We can show them how to build their business using a simple system. And it's like McDonald's because so many people feel like it's all up to them and their personality and their self-confidence and stuff. But if you open a McDonald's, none of that makes a difference. Just follow the dang system and your McDonald's will be successful. And you don't even have to like hamburgers and it'll be successful. Okay? So that's one of the things we like to do, a simple business plan. I'd like to find out how fast they would like to go. I used to I make a mistake with this. I assume everybody wanted to go my speed, fast. Not so. So do they want to go, fast, slow? How much time would they like to put in? What kind of money? There's some people want to go gung ho right now, and I want to work with them. What we find is that there are a third of the people you bring in that will never do it. A third of the people you bring in that will do it sometime, and a third that want to go right now. So guess who we work with? Yep, it's pretty obvious. Okay, so but you need to know that. Okay. Um, let's see. Plug them into our support calls and Zooms. We are so blessed to have those, right? We have the conference calls in the mornings. We have the Zoom calls all week. I'm part of a business first team, so for your team, pick which calls are important because there's too many to have them do all of them. All right. People think that doing those calls is activity, that if they're on those calls, they'll be successful, but none of that is income generating, really. It helps us, but it's not income generating. So we plug our people into three calls, okay? One is this call. We love to have our people on this call because this teaches us how to do network distribution. Two is Tuesday's Robin West call, so they can feel the goodness and of the product and develop a testimony of their self along with as they use the product. But what if they didn't get a product experience? I never got a product experience in my other business. I knew it worked though because I believed and I listened to people. Okay. And the last one that we have people get into is Dave Johnson's Saturday call. He does a great job with that. He mixes it up. Sometimes it's product, sometimes it's business. This last Sunday was all about success and success principles. How neat is that? So that's what we do. So make sure you tell them so that you can help them. Then for a few weeks, I'll send them the links to make sure they can get on the calls because they forget, right? They're brand new. So I send them a link, say, hey, don't forget, you got a 5 o'clock call tonight. It's Tuesday. And here's the link, that kind of thing. And I'll do that in a text, okay? I'd like to have them reading about network distribution. So I have them get the book GoPro by Eric Worre. They can either do it in Audible or a physical version of it so they can learn the skills necessary to do network distribution. It makes a difference if they just want to make a few $100, they don't have to do that. But if they really would like to do more, help thousands and millions of people and build a network distribution, then they'll want to know about that. And then invite them for vision to a regional, a summit, a local event if you have it, or a Zoom event. Get them on there to build their confidence. That's the plugged in part, right? We want them plugged in, we want to promote them, and we want to get them paid. If we do those three things, they'll stay with us. Okay? So what do we do first to help them? I help them start with their name list. I tell them about their name list. There are some people, many people who have people that would join them in business right away. Okay? Many people have people that would get in just because they are. Now, here's how. They're not a lot. Most people don't have that many, couple of three maybe, who would get in just simply because they said, oh my goodness, you need to get into this. Here's how they can tell if they're that kind of person. I tell people that if they were to make a phone call to somebody and say, "Hey, Joan, I have an alien that landed in my backyard. I want you to come over and see it." And Joan comes, she's one of those people. She might get in with you right away because she obviously believes you, okay? But there's not a lot of people who will do that. So once we get those two or three, we get in right away and we've approached them. The next thing we do is we get our name list. And that's where, so if you're doing Cleanse 90, if you're doing something else, you get a list. Generally, we say 20 or 30 people is a great place to start. You know, if you have a different system and it says more or less, feel free to do that. And then with a script, we want to contact those people. Okay. With a script, we want to contact them for whatever reason we're doing. Okay. I have them, a new person, download the Avini app. It's got a lot of neat stuff on there. It's an easy app and there's trainings right on it. I set a date. Okay, when do we want to start? When are we going to make our first calls? That's, either now, if you can make them with them and it's necessary, do it. It's a neat way to get them started. If they can make the calls, now I have our team has a script that they don't need me on the phone with them. It's pretty basic. Then they go ahead and just use that script. And then I'm on when we do the three ways on the very next call. So we do it that way. Okay. Keep the strategy session short and sweet with emphasis on urgent activity, the three P's, and vision and hope. Those are the things you want to come out of a strategy with a date. We're moving right away. We have vision and hope that we can do this. We're excited about it, and we go from there. Okay, and the last. Remember that leaders in our business make things happen. Okay. How many of you would love to sponsor Dave Johnson or Chip and Marcy Littlejohn or Tony, whatever? How many of you would like to do that? Okay. So those are kind of cool people. All right. So leaders make it happen. But it's interesting. Most of the time, we don't sponsor our own leaders. We don't sponsor the people who are leaders. Many times it's in our downlines that we find the leaders. It makes sense, right? I can sponsor, let's say, 5 people, but those five can between all of them can end up with 20 or 30 people. It's easier to find a leader in 20 or 30 people than it is five. So I might get a leader or I'm looking for leaders. And that's the next thing. But I just wanted to share that with you. We want to get our people started. Hopefully they're that leader, but if not, they can lead us to a leader. We're not the ones that determine whether a person is a leader or not. That's up to them. But when we identify them, we sure want to pour gasoline on fire so that we can help them to go. That's all I had on getting people started. If there's any questions, we'll take them and then we'll call it a night. Any questions? Well, then I guess we get to call it a night. So I'm excited now. If you're wondering, I'm an Emerald exec now, but by the end of the month, I will for sure be a diamond. I'll be at Summit as a diamond, and so the marketing plan does indeed work. It's a matter of reaching out to people, and we have the best thing way past sliced bread. Okay, we have the best combination of the business and combination of technologies. So with that, unless anybody has a last question. We'll just go ahead and end the call. Okay, Nikki, we can end the call. Thank you, guys.